Well, good morning. This is Eric Tonkery, Director of Marketing Education with Rutgers Business School. It is my pleasure to be joined by Dr. NJ Ndoro, Regional Director for New Jersey Small Business Development Center at Rutgers University, Newark campus. We're here to talk to her today about the unique position that New Jersey Small Business Development Center has in the community and its relationship to Rutgers Business School. Welcome, NJ.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, our pleasure. So let's get started with asking questions with regards to NJ SBDC's role in the community. So my first question is, what is NJ SBDC and its role in the community?
Okay, the New Jersey Small Business Development Center is a network of SBDC, and the SBDC program itself is a national program funded through a cooperative agreement with the Small Business Administration, the New Jersey Business Action Center, and the host institutions, which are all academic institutions. So this public-private partnership is what it's a model that is national. And the NJ SBDC is for the New Jersey network. We are 12 centers in total, and 5 of those centers, I'm proud to say, are hosted by Rutgers University, one in Camden, in New Brunswick, in Newark, Northwest New Jersey, covering Morris County. And then finally, our lead center is also at Rutgers Business School. So our role in the community is to help small businesses. And when I say small businesses, it's for-profit businesses. I usually say that we offer 2 services: training and technical assistance. So the training includes workshops, webinars, seminars, networking events that we invite people who are interested in starting a small businesses. There could be prospecting entrepreneurs. There could be startup small businesses. There could be established and mature businesses that come to our training. And that's the audience that we target, only for-profit businesses. Sometimes we do have nonprofits coming to learn about the business infrastructure, but our mandate is to work with small businesses. The technical assistant is the no-cost service that we provide to these small businesses and entrepreneurs, and it includes one-on-one counseling. It includes mentoring, coaching. We are advisors. And so as consultants and advisors, we give advice. And it's up to the business owner or the entrepreneur when they tell us their problem and we do a needs assessment to actually implement the advice. We don't interfere in the business. We just give advices and action plans and needs assessment and research in some cases.
That's great to know. How long is when you do the mentorship, let's just take the example of mentorship that you raised, how long does a typical engagement last with a small business?
Okay, so it depends on where the owner or the entrepreneur is. So if they are an entrepreneur prospecting, how do I do business in New Jersey? We usually encourage them to do the foundation, the educational classes, the training, so that they have an understanding of the fundamentals, the basics of starting a business in New Jersey. What is the legal structure? We cover all that. We have got workshops on that. How to do business in New Jersey. How do I get a permit if I'm in an industry that requires me to get a permit before I start the business? So the foundation is very important for entrepreneurs and prospecting entrepreneurs. For startup businesses, usually they've already started businesses. They have some practical hands-on experience and they're implementing their business plan. And they're realizing, when it comes to execution, maybe some elements of what they had thought they would do in the business plan are not working. So they come to us and they have one-on-one. And a person can just come for a needs assessment and they're good to go for a minute, for a while. And but then what we find is our main audience are the established and growth-focused companies that are in business, that are making money. And you find that these established businesses have very specific problems. It's not like one size fits all kind of problem. So we actually have very sophisticated counselors and consultants with areas of expertise that help them with their businesses in those particular customized areas of mentoring, coaching, counseling, and consulting.
That's very good. So you're saying is that the center provides not only some workshops and mentoring on some of the basics of running a small business, but you also go to the length of providing customized support. You know, for a client may have a variety of issues, such as, you know, whether it's digitally managing their business, right, from a marketing standpoint, or if it's any legal challenges they may face. So you're able to customize it based on the small business problem or issue they bring to your table.
Exactly. So they have to know what's going on. And sometimes they've got a challenge framing what the problem is. And that's our job. That's why we always do a needs assessment before we go into the business, is to try to understand initially what exactly is the problem, because we don't want to be treating the symptoms and not healing the disease. That's how I would put it in a nutshell. So we are experts at doing that needs assessment. Over the course of time, a business can come to us for 5 hours, 10 hours, but they also have to be showing that they're interested in executing the advice, because we don't compel them. It's self-selecting. They also have to show that they're willing to be executing the advice that we have given them, and they're making progress.
Mm-hmm. How do you help the client measure their progress with the advice and counsel you give them? You provide periodic reviews with the client, or make suggestions, and then they kind of meet them halfway in terms of how often you meet with them to see how the progress they're making?
So what happens is our advice and our strategies are very specific. One of the things that we would like to do is to give a client an action plan. And it doesn't matter whether, you know, it's an action plan for marketing or for financial systems. They are very tangible ideas and solutions that we provide to the small business. And we also write notes in the systems. So we can actually, we have what we call our client customer management system. We call it Center IC internally. And all the counselors and consultants will write their notes. They describe what the problem is. They describe what recommendations they give to the client. They describe what the next step, that's the actions, what the client needs to do. If it's a compounded problem with compounded issues and different ways to different pieces to it. So they actually give the next step, that you need to do this next, you need to do this next. Sometimes in the process of doing the needs assessment or counseling a client in one area, you find that you have to refer them to another person of a certain expertise. So that's also in the notes. So we measure progress, and the client cannot say, oh, I didn't know what I was supposed to do, because the next steps are very tangible. So we can look at it and then say, okay, they come back to us. We usually want them to go for a minimum of 2 to 3 months, because as businesses, they're doing everything. They're running their business. They're doing their business development. It takes time to actually implement a solution or a strategy and start getting results. But they can come back to us in 3 months and say, well, I need more help with another problem because there are emerging issues. You advised me to do international trade and to go on, you know, and take all these courses with the Department of Commerce. But now I'm realizing I don't have the capacity to produce, because I found out the country that I want to export, they want A, B, C, D, so maybe we have to kind of shift them based on the reality on the ground. It's very practical, solution oriented, and say, okay, you discover this and your company does not have the capacity or capability, or if it's a contracting opportunity, we tell them, oh, you need to do business with the federal government. Okay, you need to register for SAM, etc. They go ahead and they register for SAM, and then they realize SAM is the federal contracting platform called Systems of Awards Management. And then they go in and then they realize, oh my goodness, I need this, I need A, B, C, D, because I can't just walk in and do business with an entity. So they come to a federal contracting webinar and we teach them how to market their services. We teach them how to the federal government. We teach them how to identify the right federal agency, because a lot of times, even though they're sophisticated, seasoned business people, they think they can just sell their service and products to everyone. And our job is to narrow them and streamline them and say, no, you have to know how to see. So we can go into a workshop. We have a workshop where we actually drill down, where they'll see the government, which agencies in the federal government are actually buying their product and how much they spend last year, the year before, and what other offerings are there. So it's very specific. And with us, because we have the ability and resource and databases and access to a lot more information than an ordinary business would have, we are able to kind of really look into it. And it can go on for a whole year and they're executing in incremental steps, which is what we advise, you know, incremental steps, and see your progress, come back when you want to move to the next level.
So it brings me to my next question is that it's so multifaceted, the center does. So many aspects of how you work with the clients. So tell me, what does a regional director do in managing all these this diverse piece parts and making sure that everything is going in the right direction? How does one manage all this?
Okay, so the first thing I must say is we have an advantage as a technical assistance business development entity, SBDCs, because we are under universities, first of all. So as a director, I have the capability, especially in technology, of my institution, which in my case, my center, the NJ SBDC at Rutgers University, Newark, covers Essex County, is based in Newark at Rutgers Business School in Newark. So I can tap into the university resources to really mitigate budget constraints. The other thing so my basic job is organizational development, program development for the center based on what's trending, what industries are emerging, what we are noticing that businesses need. And we make sure that we put that training and we hire consultants with the areas of expertise that they need. That's the program. I also do strategic management, the planning, the conceptualization of where we are going. We actually, as a network, have a 3-year strategic plan. And that's what I also work with budget allocation. So I'm given a budget and I manage my own financial and of course, because we are under universities, we use our university financial systems. So all that. The other thing is looking for other resources and other, like for instance, you and I have worked on the student experiential learning program that we created over, oh my goodness, it's 7-8 years.
10 years, probably almost 10 years at this point.
It's almost 10 years, time flies, right? And one of that program came about as a way of looking at how can students learn, especially juniors and seniors, have an experience learn about small businesses in a tangible experiential learning. So we have had many cases where students have, and it's a semester-long intervention in a small business. I give you the clients. So that was a program, an innovation that we had to come up with, which benefited not just the center in terms of getting capacity, because the professors supervise the student, getting students doing research, feasibility studies, analysis on social media, all these other things that a business might not have the capacity in-house to do. And And it's a win-win for the business as well, because they're getting this no-cost service, working with a team of students to analyze a very specific problems. We worked with a business that was looking to go north, growth in their growth plan, ended up based on the research the student did, ended up going south. We've worked with businesses that have got social media and student critique. We've worked with businesses where students analyze whether it's feasible, whether they are ready to go international and start exporting or manufacturing or not, and do a comparative analysis whether they should be manufacturing in the US and who are the people that can help them with manufacturing.
Segue into talking about partnership or relationship to Rutgers Business School. Can you define what the center's unique relationship to Rutgers Business School is?
Okay, so our relationship with the business school in Rutgers University is not only are they our host, they host the center that I run and the 4 other centers out of the 12 centers in the NJ SBDC network. And then because it is in our mandate and our federal mandate to collaborate with our host, and because Rutgers University and Rutgers Business School are part of the public-private partnership agreement with the federal government, we have to find synergy. And one of the great things is, as an economic development organization, helping in small business development, Rutgers University and Rutgers Business School, it's an anchor institution. They are interested in servicing the community where they reside, not just the students, but also the community. So that anchor mission matches very well with our mandate as an economic development arm of the Rutgers Business School. So we participate in symposiums that the Dean of Rutgers Business School do annually. We are very much part of that planning and implementation community. We participate in some of the research and some of the strategic planning that, in terms of giving the voice of how the business school can engage with the small business community. We participate with students, like I mentioned before. And so any opportunity that we get for collaboration or fulfilling the anchor mission objectives of the university, SBDC is there.
Okay, very good. So that brings me to my point on the next part is what is the relationship to the center, SBD Center, to Rutgers University, in this case, Rutgers Business School students?
So with the students, we have actually had to create, and you were part of that initiative, how can students learn about small business, or even they themselves become entrepreneurs? Because we have had in the past students coming and saying, I want to start a business, and they want to start their own business. And they're like, just like everybody else, like any other entrepreneur, the fact that they're students, happen to be students who want to start a business, we have to take them seriously like any other person who wants to start a business, number one. But also the reverse part of it is students needed to learn how small businesses work. So, and in your case, with your marketing students, they work with our small businesses. We provide you clients. So instead of just doing desktop research or desktop studies of how small businesses work, they actually get assigned a real live practical case of a business. And they go in as consultants with supervision of professors like you and analyze what the problem is. That we have a problem approach to the intervention, and they're making recommendations just like any other consultant will do. So not only are they just learning about how small businesses learn, they're also learning how analysis critical thinking, becoming consultants, if they ever end up wanting to do a career in consulting in small business. They are also having the ability to generalize their theoretical knowledge and formulas into the real life situation, because a lot of the businesses that have worked with student teams and have taken on the recommendations. So this is a win-win situation. Everybody wins, everybody benefits, and students, and in addition, of course, we have students who work as interns and volunteers in the center. So they are also learning the administration of a center from that perspective as well. And sometimes students have come, business students have come to support people with disabilities and helping them, hand-holding. This is a resource that we get from students because they can help them write a business plan. If they have a challenge, if they have a learning disability, if they can't understand, or if they have an inability to type. So we have had situations, unique situations, where students will actually support a small business owner who have limitations of some sort, and they work them through until they start their business. So students are a valuable part, and Rutgers Business School students in particular are a valuable part to the SBDC because they are in the business world.
Since most, and this is my last question for our interview, since most parts of the country have reopened at this point, how is your center assisting in the recovery efforts for small businesses post-pandemic?
Okay, so we had to start helping them during the pandemic with the economic shutdown. This is something that we had not seen before. It was different from any of the other disasters that we had helped businesses. So we were closed, I think when we closed in March, that period, businesses were panicking because the economy completely shut down. But we were helping businesses to say, start thinking about reimagining your business model. Because we are not, this is a health crisis, not an environmental crisis. And we are not going back to the way business was before. So that's where we started working. We also got funding to help businesses retool their infrastructure. How do they sell online? How do they receive payments online? How do they pivot? Because this was a crisis where you couldn't just recover. You had to reimagine and pivot into a whole new way of doing your business and getting your products and services to the consumer. So pivoting became critical in helping the business think of ways that they could go with the business without actually closing down. We help them with finance. So now we are here. What has happened is they're kind of understanding that this is a new environment of doing business. We are not going back to it's change, and they have adapted to change, and they are coping, but things are not where they are. But also understanding that they need to diversify. So now, after the pivot, we are now working with having them fine-tune their technology, fine-tune their security, cyber security, because everything is online now. We are realizing that there are also opportunities for new industries emerging in communication, in food and accommodation, in health, in the health sector. So how can they position themselves to be in a situation where they are able to continue to thrive and survive? And they've received the money from the PPE and the emergency loans from the state and the federal government. Now they need to be sustainable long-term. So that's where we are working with the companies and all the small businesses to say that continue being innovative, continue thinking about how you can grow your business above and beyond the locality where we where you used to do business. Now you are online, you can do business anywhere in the world. So that's where we are encouraging businesses to do business globally. And the logistics industry also has improved because they understand that changes happened and people can't come in to a central location. They have to provide the services that match the new environment and the new condition. But I always say that if you have a problem and you are suffering and you're struggling, don't struggle alone. Find an SBDC near you or go to our website, rnsbdc.com, and we'll direct you to the nearest website near you and help you with your business.
Tendai, thank you for that. And I'll reiterate that the Small Business Development Center, your center, other centers are a great resource for small businesses, whatever their challenges happen to be, whether they're starting up or whether they're trying to get their back on their feet in this post-pandemic world. I want to thank you for your time today, Tendai.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.